Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to This is Wonder with Eyiara. And today's declaration is I will not allow my wonder to be diluted by the world or by fears and insecurities. I will not allow my wonder to be diluted by the world or by fears and insecurities. Let's get into it. When you dilute something, you reduce its concentration to make it more palatable. For example, when you have squash, I don't know if you guys remember when you were younger and your mom or your auntie or your sister or someone in your family or whoever got a big bottle of squash and they would pour a little bit into a cup and then they would add lots and lots of water into it to dilute the squash so that you were able to drink out of it. So you were able to drink it. So when you dilute something, you reduce its concentration so that it's more palatable, so it's drinkable, so that it's takeable, so that it doesn't have adverse effects on you. Because if you were to drink the squash by itself, it would cause adverse effects, right? To dilute something also means to make it weaker. So when you are making something weaker, you are making its strength, bringing down its strength, bringing down its potency, bringing down its value, or bringing down its content. So you're weakening its content, its value, its potency. And usually, well, sometimes that is the reason for that is so that it doesn't have, like I said before, adverse effects. And I just got into essential oils. Essential oils are the best. And on the bottle, there is this instruction that says, before using, dilute with a carrier oil. And the reason for that is because the essential oil it's very concentrated, it's got a high potency, and you aren't really supposed to use it by itself, either on your skin or in your hair or wherever you're going to use it. It's best to dilute it with a carrier oil so that it doesn't either burn your skin or have adverse effects, like I said earlier. So in that case, when you dilute something, you reduce its potency because you want to be able to use it. But in the context, I'm going to be using dilute today, and because dilute is in our declaration for today, that connotation is more of a negative connotation. So when you dilute something, you weaken it, you bring it down, you diminish it. Sometimes you cut it so that it becomes less than what it already is. So when you dilute something, you weaken it, you diminish it, you make it smaller, you reduce its concentration. But in the case of us, you and I, have you ever reduced yourself or tried to shrink yourself so that people will accept you? That is a form of dilution. That is a form of diluting yourself when you reduce yourself, when you don't express yourself to the full capacity. Either because people will be jealous of you, or because people are going to say things about you, or because you want people to accept you. So when you do those things, usually the aim is for people to accept you, right? And if you think of it like this, most of the time, the people that we want to accept us aren't. And what I'm going to say now might sound a little off, but think of it this way, and it's in no way to insult anyone. The people that you want to accept you, in a way, are childish. Not childish in the sense that they are acting like children or their age is very young. I'm talking about this in the sense that the level that you are operating on and the level that they are operating on. The thing is, some people aren't mature enough to handle the full expression of who you are. And that is okay. So imagine that you are a bottle of wine. A bottle of wine like Cabernet or Pinot Noir, and you are full of flavor and you're a high value bottle of wine. Okay? Roll with me with this. And imagine that there are children around you, and you really want these children to try your bottle of wine because it tastes great, it's high value, it's got great flavor, and you want these children to try your bottle of wine. First of all, do you give children wine? No, you don't, right? You don't give children wine. Why? Because they are not old enough or mature enough to handle it. Is that right? So you don't give children wine because they're not old enough and they're not mature enough to handle it. Secondly, if you were to say, oh, but I really want these children to try this wine because it's the best wine, it's such high value, great quality, full of flavor, and I really want these children to try the wine. So I'm just going to put a little bit into their cup, and then I'm going to add lots and lots of water, or I'm just going to add lots of juice into it so to dilute the wine. But I still want the children to have the wine. Would you do that? Wouldn't that sound a little bit absurd? To say, oh, I'm just going to put a little bit of wine and then dilute it so that the children can drink it. No, you don't do that either, do you? And why don't you do that? Because a child's system cannot handle the potency of wine. And let's just move away from children right now. Certain adults can't handle the potency of wine, or they just don't like wine. Simple. Wine is not their thing, it's not for them. And you know what? That is okay. That is okay. And you being okay with that is a step in walking in your wonder, is a step in realizing your worth, is a step in realizing your wonder and walking in your wonder unapologetically, fully, in an uncompromised way. Now, I don't know why I'm using the example of wine because I don't drink wine, but I hope it encourages someone. But it's also a perfect example that if someone were to offer me some wine, maybe they're launching a wine business and they want to gift me some wine and for me to try it, and I would have to decline because wine is not my thing. And the reason for me declining this is not because I have anything against them. It's not because I hate them as a person. It's not because I have anything against their offer or who they are. It's just that their gift, the wine, is not something that I gravitate towards. In a similar way, people not accepting you may not always be that they have something against you. It may not be that they hate you as a person. It may be like the wine example, whereby they just don't like wine. Wine may not be their thing. Maybe what you carry or what you embody may not be something that they gravitate towards. Maybe because the package, the potency, the strength of who you are is not something that they can handle. And you know what? That is okay. That is okay. Now, let's liken this to our wonder. From the very first episode, we've been talking about how you are a wonder. And why are you a wonder? Because you were created by God. God, the creator of the whole universe, the whole gigantuous universe. Is gigantuous a word? I don't know. Anyway, God, the creator of the whole massive universe, created you, and his imprint is on you. In talking about dilution, what are the words that we tend to use to water ourselves down? Now, have you ever been in a situation where someone has asked you to introduce yourself to, tell me about yourself, talk about yourself, tell me about your product? talk about your idea, or explain your idea, or talk about something that is dear to you. And have you found yourself using words like this? It's only, it's just a little thing. It's just, oh, it's nothing much. It's nothing. It's nothing much. It's only, it's just. Have you found yourself using words like that to talk about yourself, or to talk about your project, or to talk about your idea, or something that you're working on? Those words are actually watering yourself down. And I know I have been guilty. Hands up to say that. I have been guilty of using those words. But you know what? Let's decide that today, no more shrinking yourself down to fit into small environments. No more reducing yourself so that people won't feel jealous of you. No more watering yourself down so that people will accept you or feel like you're more palatable or more accessible to them. No more of that. No more. So walk in the magnitude of who God created you to be. Walk in the magnitude of who God called you to be. Walk in the authority that He has given to you. Walk in it. Walk in it. Walk in it unashamedly, unabashedly, in full force. Walk in it, my darlings. Walk in it. Walk in it. Today's declaration states, I will not allow my wonder to be diluted by the world or by fears and insecurities. I will not allow my wonder to be diluted by the world or by fears and insecurities. So, let's talk about fears. First of all, fear is torment. Have you thought about that? Have you ever thought about it? Fear is torment. It actually says so in the Bible. In 1 John 4 verse 18, in the King James Version, it states, fear hath torment. In the New King James Version, it states, fear involves torment. In the Lamsa Bible, which is a translation from the Aramaic, it states, fear is tormenting. So when you think about it, have you ever had those thoughts when it's like, oh, don't do this because this is going to happen. Oh, don't do this because this is going to happen. Or you have to stay here, otherwise that thing's going to happen. Or you have to do this, or otherwise this thing's going to happen. Or you can't do that because that's going to happen. Or you have to do this because this is going to happen. Or you can't do that because this is going to happen. And it's like the worst case scenario starts playing in the mind. And it keeps swirling and swirling and swirling and swirling. And those thoughts keep gnawing at you and swirling in your mind. Isn't that tormenting? Those anxious thoughts, aren't those tormenting? That is what the Bible means when it says fear is torment. Fear involves torment. Fear is tormenting. And what are some synonyms for torment? Some synonyms for torment are misery, affliction, distress, suffering, agony, pain. Sheesh. Misery, affliction, distress, suffering, agony, pain. Those are synonyms for torment. So let's say someone was afraid of heights. If they were to get into an escalator or get in a lift, go to the very top of a building, or not the very top, like this, the roof, but get into the lift to go to a very high floor. If the person were told to stand by the window and they were in a very high floor, they would start to probably have heart palpitations, or their heart would start to beat faster. Right? Because just the thought of them standing by the window to look down at all the other buildings around, and them knowing that they have a fear of heights, that would put the person in a great deal of distress, would it not? But whatever the fear is, whether it be fear of flying or fear of water or fear of going to a new place, just the thought of it would make someone's heart to start to beat faster, right? And when those thoughts keep swirling around in the mind and keep swirling and swirling and swirling to the point where someone is unable to sleep, then that fear has caused suffering. So some of the synonyms for torment are suffering, pain, distress. And that is exactly what fear does. It causes distress, it causes suffering. Because when those thoughts come, they affect the cells, they affect the mind, and in so doing, they affect the body. And some of the things that fear does are fear keeps the person stuck, stagnant, and stale. Fear keeps the person in the same environment. Fear makes the person shrink. Literally. So let me do a little demonstration, okay? So when you're scared of something, let's say someone's afraid of the dark, right? Or they're afraid of someone coming towards them. How would they behave? One of the things bodily that you see when someone's afraid is they kind of shield themselves, right? They shield themselves because that's one of the ways to protect yourself. You're shielding yourself because you're encountering something that has made you fearful. Another example is when you're declining. Maybe someone has said, "Oh, would you like to speak on stage?" And you're like, "Oh, no, 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 no." And your whole body is extended out to protect yourself because you don't want to do that thing. That brings a lot of fear, right? What of another example of something that's fearful, of something that the way that your body reacts when you're afraid of something? Maybe you slide down into the chair. I know this is very squeaky. Maybe you slide down and your head goes forward and you'll hunch down a little bit. And those are some of the things that happen when you are afraid, right? Wow. Thank you for going along on that journey with me. But seriously, fear does affect the body, like the hunching over, the head dropped low, the eyes looking down, or just trying to protect yourself. So all your energy, everything, your mind is just trying to protect yourself from whatever is out there. Now, I want you to do 3 things. Number 1, I want you to write down the fears that you are experiencing. Write down the fears that you are experiencing. And I don't want you to call them your fears because they are not your fears. They are not your fears because 2 Timothy 1 verse 7 states, "For God has not given us the spirit of fear." So the fear is a spirit. It is not your fear. You do not have the fear. So do not call it your fear. It is a spirit. And God has said He has not given you that spirit of fear. So write down the fears that you're currently experiencing. And as I said, the fear is a spirit. It's not what God has given to you. So don't accept it. Don't accept it. God has not given you the spirit of fear. Because as we mentioned earlier, fear is torment. Fear is torment. The synonyms for torment are misery, affliction, distress, suffering, agony, pain. That's not what God has given to us. So we should not accept it. What has God given to us then? In 2 Timothy 1 verse 7, that same verse, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but that of power, of love, and of a sound mind. Of power, of love, and of a sound mind. Of power, of love, and of a sound mind. Okay? Those are the things that God has given you. So don't accept the fears as your own. Don't call them your fears. So the first thing to do is write down the fears that you're currently experiencing. Second thing to do, beside the fear, write out the reason for the fear. What do I mean by this? For example, someone who is afraid of speaking in public may say the reason for that is because they saw someone speak on stage or speak in front of a large group of people, and that large group of people laughed at them, mocked them, didn't listen to them, made fun of them. And so that is the reason why they are afraid of speaking in front of people. Or maybe the person who's afraid of heights, their reason for that could be they feel like the building may collapse. So what I want you to do is write down the reason beside the fear. It may be the most outrageous reason, or it may be a simple reason. Write it out. Okay? And don't be scared of writing it out. And don't think it's too weird or wacky or outrageous to write out. All right? So the second thing is to write out the reason beside the fear. The third thing, I would like you to write out what you would do if the fear didn't have a hold on you. What would you do if the fear didn't have a hold on you? What would you do if you weren't afraid of heights? What would you do if you weren't afraid of the water? What would you do if you weren't afraid of speaking in front of people? What would you do if you weren't afraid of going to a new place by yourself? What would you do if you weren't afraid of singing in front of people? What would you do? What would you do if that fear didn't have a hold on you? What would you do if you didn't have a fear of trying something new? What would you do? So recapping all of this, number 1, write out the fears. Number 2, write out the reason for the fears. Number 3, write out what you would do if the fear didn't have a hold on you. Once again, let's remind ourselves of today's declaration. I will not allow my wonder to be diluted by the world or by fears and insecurities. I will not allow my wonder to be diluted by the world or by fears and insecurities. I will not allow my wonder to be diluted by the world or by fears and insecurities. Remember, you are a wonder because God, the creator of the universe, created you. He created you in his image and in his likeness. And so his imprint is in you. His imprint is on you. And God is great. Therefore, you are great. So walk in the magnitude of who God has created you to be. Walk in the magnitude of who God has called you to be. Walk in the authority that he has given you. Walk in it unashamedly, boldly, unabashedly, fully, completely, undiluted. Walk in it, my loves. Walk in it. Because that's what you were created to do. Walk in that magnitude of who God has created you to be. Fully, 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 undiluted. Walk in it. Thank you for joining me in this episode of This is Wonder. I hope it has encouraged you. So please like, comment, subscribe to this channel, share, comment, because it does help to get the message across to more people. And remember, you are a wonder. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.